Thank you for checking out crypto.chartguys.com, the source for technical analysis in the cryptocurrency world. We are proud to announce our own crypto alert system designed to give you the most critical technical trading information possible no matter where you are. Keep your eyes on the market with mobile or email alerts for MACD crosses, RSI levels, and even inside bar alerts for dozens of coins across multiple exchanges. New features and proprietary ChartGuys indicators are already in development. Our alert system is very easy to customize and utilize, so don't hesitate to sign up for the most effective crypto trading tool on the market at crypto.chartguys.com. Hello, my crypto companions. So we've got a dump going on, and a big dump at that. A little bit of some FUD news to magnify it. We were looking for this pullback, so there's no surprise in the pullback. It's just the surprise is the speed at which it happens, the volume behind it, and the reason is there's an article coming out about the South Korean biggest exchange getting raided for fraud. So that's obviously going to add some FUD to the mix. Always that timing though. But we were looking for the loss of the daily higher lows because we knew that our weekly time frame needs to form a lower high to stay in this equilibrium pattern. And where we are standing right now, it certainly looks like it's playing out wonderfully, which is a great sign if you are a technical trader because it is going to give us a very crystal clear break when it does occur. Again, sometime at this point, I'm looking in June. So we're looking for a pullback. We're looking for the bulls to form a higher low. We said ideally above 8,000 they'll form that higher low. Doesn't have to be. Anything above 6,450 is a higher low. The more we pull back, the longer that we can stay within this weekly equilibrium pattern before we get that eventual break. But the top is in. The weekly higher lows every single week, week after week for 4 weeks is now done. And it was actually 5 weeks in a row. So that tells us our temporary top is in. And the daily time frame, clear shift. The right shoulder of this bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern was not significant. But if you look at the 4-hour time frame, it's definitely there. And it's the psychology of the pattern that matters, not, does it look like a right shoulder? We have the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. And the significance of this is a clear shift in the trend from higher lows and higher highs to then lower highs and lower lows. That's exactly what the trend or the pattern is meaning to tell us when we look for it. And that's exactly what we got on the daily time frame. The lower high on the daily time frame, we can't even really call it that. Not much of a bounce at all by the bulls, but it did give us a new resistance level at 9,386. So bottom line is the daily chart has shifted back to bearish in the short term. So what that means is RSI levels can get more extended. Like I said in the video yesterday, if you're in an uptrend, the hourly RSI, it's been bouncing off of 30. When you're in a downtrend, that hourly RSI can very easily get to 20. And as we've seen with news, obviously the RSI levels can get more extreme as well. So where we stand, the next support level that we're looking at, there's not a whole lot nearby besides the low of today of 8,505, and the bulls have been doing their best to defend 8,500 psychological support a few times. But if we break that level, the next support level is all the way down in the 8,200s. So a lack of support in this area is also a reason that we are seeing the bears be able to push the price down so quickly. So the 4-hour RSI is getting to historical bounce levels. We're forming a bullish reversal candlestick on the 4-hour time frame, a doji right now, but we still have an hour to go. And it's not convincing, as I'll show you on the shorter term time frames. And I'm currently very actively managing trades. I'll go over everything that I've been doing in Ethereum since last night after we go over this initial analysis. But again, this RSI on Bitcoin currently is at 24. And if we zoom out historically, we consistently bounce just above, just at, or just below 20. And I'm looking back since the all-time high. So since the all-time high, we bounced in the mid-20s. The lowest we got was down at 16. And then other than 16, we've been bouncing from 21 or 22, 22, low 20s again, 21, and then here 22. So 21 and 22 has been our historical bounce point. So we can absolutely see another leg down. We have to keep that in mind. If we get this flush of 8,500, that's going to give us the 4-hour RSI in the low 21 area where we have been bouncing from, and it could give us a volume climax. So why I say that we could see another potential leg down, even though we're forming a bullish reversal candlestick on the 4-hour, is the bulls aren't really proving anything to me. We have a bounce playing out right now, but consistently since last night, we see bounce after bounce is just giving us bear flags for continuation down. So here's the hourly RSI from 20 cooling off, but if we form just another lower high and then pull back down again, we absolutely can see another move down and another lower low. So keep that in mind. And the short-term time frames are not telling me anything on this bounce just yet. The volume is not really doing anything. This is a bear flag setup right now. Unless we see a volume spike and some clear change in this momentum, I am waiting for another, well, I shouldn't say I'm waiting, but I am cautious of another leg down in this current setup. So one thing that we need to remember is if you're making an entry on a trade based on an RSI level, you have to be watching if that changes. So if I'm making an entry on the 5-minute RSI in the single digits and the 15-minute RSI at 20, as was my initial entry yesterday, then if we see the bounce to get those 5-minute and 15-minute RSI levels cooled off back above oversold, now why am I in the trade, right? We're breaking support. The RSI is not oversold anymore. My reasoning for being in the trade is gone, so I shouldn't be in the trade anymore. So that's essentially what happens on these bear flags. We cool off RSI, we see another leg down. So how I have been managing this trade with Ethereum, we'll go over Ethereum real quick and then the details. So the daily time frame, little weak bounce, lower high, lower low. So we are looking down at the next support of 627.20. Bulls are likely to form a higher low compared to that level unless Bitcoin gets extremely ugly. And again, I don't pay as much attention to the RSI levels on Ethereum as I do to Bitcoin, because if I look at the 15 or the 4-hour RSI levels on Ethereum, I say, man, we're not even oversold yet. We could see another leg down. But I know that due to the correlation to Bitcoin, in order for Ethereum to see another leg down and to see 4-hour RSI levels get down into the 20s, that means that Bitcoin's 4-hour RSI is going to be down at 20 or in the teens. So I'm always comparing the Bitcoin RSI levels to where we're standing on individual names. So we're trying to see a bounce on Ethereum. Again, nothing significant. We're cooling off shorter term time frames. Nothing in terms of changing the trends. In terms of the 15-minute, we did break the lower highs, but I need to see the hourly time frame give me a higher low and a higher high in order to be confident in a bounce actually playing out. And in order to be confident that an hourly higher low can form, I need to see a solid initial bounce. And that's why those V-shaped recoveries on oversold bounces are so nice. And that's where we see the most gains, is we get the V-shaped recovery and the initial bounce is strong enough that we can anticipate that when we do top out temporarily, that a higher low will form. And we're not seeing that on any of these bounces yet at this point because of their weakness. So how I have been playing Ethereum on the 5-minute time frame, I'll break it all down. This is as active as it gets in terms of being a trader, in terms of having to monitor, constantly moving orders around. So initially I started scaling in to Ethereum because of Bitcoin RSI levels. And in hindsight now, it was way too soon, but I've been able to manage the trades accordingly. So my initial positions, I start scaling in with it ends up being about 8 to 9% of my positions per order. So I get at least 10 orders that I'm looking to layer into. And if you're not experienced with this is a very easy way to be holding a bag, especially if you're not stopping yourself out. But what I did is the first entry that I made, I scaled in 4 orders, and my first 4 orders filled, and this was all the way back midday yesterday when we were still in the 740s. So my average, when my first 4 orders filled, my average was 737. And again, I got into the trade because of the 5 and 15-minute RSIs on Bitcoin. So then we started bouncing and the RSI levels cooled off. And I said, man, this looks like a bear flag. The hourly RSI is not even oversold. We have cooled off RSI levels in the short term. We can absolutely see another leg down, confirming the bear flags and leading to lower lows, closer to getting that hourly oversold. So I take profit. I take small profit. It's not a significant win whatsoever, but I took 25% of my profit of the 637 average at 642s, in the 642s. So what that does is it gives me more cash to play the lower lows, and it also gives me a lower cost basis. So what I mean by that is if I'm looking to stay break even on a trade and my average is 637 and then I sell some for small profit, my average for the trade then drops down into the 635s before I would be in the red on the trade because I just locked in some profit. So that's what I did on the initial move. And then on the leg down, I added some more, and I added maybe another 3 positions at that point. So I got my average cost basis down to 627. And again, last night I was selling break even to protect myself because I was saying again, man, these RSI levels cooled off. We're not oversold on the hourly. We're not oversold on the 4-hour. We can absolutely see another leg down. So I ended up taking a third of my profit or a third of my position at break even. And then it was getting towards, actually, I was going out to eat at that point. So I took a third of my profit at break even. I went out to eat and I placed bids in case we dropped down below 730 and hit lower lows. So while I was out to eat, I got filled in the I got filled significantly at 718, 715, 709, 701, all those different orders. And that dropped my cost basis down even lower to the mid 720s. So again, I'm still having cash on the side. At this point, I was probably in 60 to 65% of my position. Cost basis in the 720s. Here's our oversold bounce playing out. Again, I take profit. I took a third break even. And then as the bounce continued to play out, I saw, okay, this looks like an hourly bear flag now. So we're cooling off the hourly RSI levels last night enough that we can absolutely dump down to another lower low. So again, it was the same strategy. Before bed, I didn't want to stay up all night here again. So I scaled out, at that point, I scaled out 75% of my position with small profit in the low 730s and high 720s. So again, at this point, I haven't locked in any successful real trade, maybe some taco money in terms of profit. And I was left with 90% cash, 10% of an ETH position with an average in the low 720s at that point due to the profit that I did take. And I placed orders while I went to bed. So while I went to bed, I filled again down at the same thing, 711, 705, 701. This morning I filled at 685, 670, 672 I think I filled. So at this point where we stand, I am currently in the red in my position, but I have been managing it and consistently lowering my cost basis every time I average down and then sell some of the bounce. So at this point, my average is in the 690s. I am currently in about 80% position. I've got 20% cash waiting for the 650s if we see another leg down in Ethereum, and I will exit some of my position initially at a small loss, perhaps at 695, then break even wherever that break even is, maybe 697, and then some more small profit in the 700s. Again, I'm not going for a home run at this point. You have to recognize when the trade's going against you in the sense that, okay, I got in too early. This is an all-out dump with some FUD behind it. So I'm no longer looking for a home run and a weak maker of a trade. Now I'm just looking for break even or a small profit. And that's, at this point, if I had to take my position and bail out right now, all I would be doing is giving back less than my last profitable trade, which was a solid trade. It was a weak maker, but I would be giving back less than that. So I just want to give you a glimpse. At this point, in the last 24 hours, I have placed and moved bids and orders. I have probably canceled and replaced orders maybe 36 times. I've probably filled over 10 positions. I've sold over 10 positions. So I have been extremely active managing. Essentially, it's damage control, absolutely, because I got in initially too early. But again, I'm very comfortable at this point. I'm currently less than $10 away from break even, and I still have cash on the side a little bit in case we get some more weakness. But it looks like this Bitcoin bounce is getting a little bit more follow through. Again, I want to see this hourly chart hit these exponential resistances. And even if we reject from them, I want to see that significant of a bounce to see the potential for an hourly higher low and hourly higher high to form. It is a very solid bullish reversal candlestick forming now with a volume climax with another hour to go. So let's see if the bulls can turn it around from here, but we have to see increasing bull volume on some of these time frames, and the 15-minute chart is not giving us that. So again, I'm still skeptical of this move, which will have me look to take my Ethereum break even because I'm not confident that we are done pulling back for the day. Litecoin on the daily time frame, big time drop, breaking all kinds of support levels. So Litecoin, no support in this area. After we broke 138.80, a lack of support. 4-hour RSI is oversold. Starting to see a bounce, bullish reversal candlestick on the 4-hour. The hourly time frame still in a downtrend, lower highs and lower lows, and we're playing a bounce. The Litecoin bounce is likely to be more profitable than the Bitcoin bounce. I would assume it's going to go BCH, ETH, LTC, and BTC in terms of percentage gains. That's what the last bounce played out as. So we'll see if that ends up being the case here again. I'm playing ETH because, again, comfortability and liquidity for trading purposes. But liking this ETH bounce, we're definitely seeing it pick up a little bit against Bitcoin because we've already clearly broken some 15-minute lower highs. We've got the hourly approaching this exponential moving average, which is the target I'm looking for, at least on this initial bounce attempt. So that's where we stand. Again, very calm, cool, and collected this whole time. No panic. Because, again, I always know worst case scenario, if I have to take my loss, I'm not even going to give back as much as I made on my last trade, which was when I played that BCH and ETH bounce maybe 2 days ago. So that just goes to show you, it's not just buying and selling one position with trading. It is way more complex than that if you are getting down into the nitty-gritty details. And obviously, again, if you're newer, you shouldn't be expecting to be able to do this. This is years and years of experience where essentially you're just constantly reacting. I'm constantly reacting every 15 minutes to new information and adjusting my game plan accordingly due to that. So we'll see if this is the low of the morning for now. And again, until we get an hourly higher low and a higher high, it's really hard to trust these bulls. So I appreciate you all watching. Hopefully not too many people are stuck in these trades holding some bags. If they are, whether you're going to take some damage control and take a small loss, that all depends on what you are looking to do here. But I am personally looking to get back to all cash, anticipating that the daily chart is now going to be in consolidation mode for the next potential couple of weeks as we see this weekly chart continue to tighten up. So I appreciate you watching. I'm going to hit the road down to the Keys to find a place to live for the next few months. Do good things for the weekend. I appreciate you all. And yesterday was my 1-year anniversary for crypto. Made my first Ethereum trade yesterday in 2017, May 10th. And it's been a life-changing, insane ride over the last year. Really appreciate you all in the cryptocurrency community. Certainly couldn't have done it without you all. And looking forward to a lot more fun over the next decade or two. Let's see, do good things. Recently, I wanted to show some pictures for this. I went on a road trip, not recently, 6-7 years ago. Graduated college, went on a road trip with some buddies for 4 months around the country and did WOOFing. If you don't know WOOFing, Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms, WWOOF. Great program if you got kids in college, if you're in college, do this. Go travel the country and woof. Go on these farms. You exchange maybe 25 to 35 hours of work a week for free room and board. And you essentially immerse yourself in these people's lives. I learned about wild mushroom foraging. I learned about taking care of different animals. Every different place is obviously very different. Of course, there's some horror stories out there where people had bad experiences. I've done it in West Virginia, California, Maine, Colorado, and every single experience has been incredible. And I've created, these family units of relationship with these people where I could call any of them up and be like, hey, I need a place to stay in Colorado. And I know that they would open their door to me because I was a really good worker when I was staying there. And we just had really awesome experiences. So, I mean, even just the books, the different books people have. I read some incredible books. Black Hawk Speaks, The Power of Now, learned about all different kinds of things on this road trip. But the bottom line is I was road tripping around to national parks. And, when you're on the road for months and months, living out of your car, it can get a little wearing. But if you are staying at these different farms, I would stop and stay at a farm for 2 weeks and work and eat with the family and get to know them and learn from them. And it's a good reset. You get good food, you get some showers, and then you can hit the road again and get back to the national parks or wherever you're going. They have this all over the world in all different countries. It's an incredible program. And again, I suggest everybody do it. That was not my good things of the day, but this is how I met this woman. I met her for 2 weeks, 6 years ago. She made a lasting impact on me. She's a very good person. She lives a very simple life, and financially, the house was not complete, and knowing where the next $100 is going to come from wasn't known. And it was definitely a very simple countryside life, but financially definitely very trying. So she's selling things like salves and herbal infusions and tinctures and things like that. So I just bought a couple $100 of that off of her, and I'm going to pay her way more than it's worth, and hopefully she'll accept it and not send it back. But that's the way that I like to do things. Rather than just giving people money, you need that energetic exchange where you're getting something for it. So it doesn't have to match in monetary value. Even if, my friend is down on his luck and needs some help, if I give him some money, he can give me anything. It can be something special that means something to him in nature, a rock or anything. It doesn't matter to me. It's just the act of that exchange that, in my opinion, is important when giving money back and forth in certain instances. So I'll put some videos in the next picture, or some pictures at least, from my experience on this farm with this woman. And I hope you have a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend. Like I said, I'm going to be traveling and in the Keys and all over the place, so the video timing will definitely be different than normal. Might not go live on Sunday, depends on when I get back and all that. But I appreciate you all, and we'll see you tomorrow.